Owasso Public Schools failed to take steps to protect students under federal law. That is the message coming from the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Thank you for joining me at 5. I'm Erin Christie. Tonight, team coverage. The federal government reports Owasso handled sexual harassment poorly. We begin with 2 News Oklahoma's Brody Myers, who delves into that report. Brody.
Erin, Owasso Schools has a lot of work ahead of it to resolve what the U.S. Department of Education says was a failure to enforce Title IX regulations. One of the first things the district will have to do is identify their Title IX coordinator. In a letter outlining the investigation results, the Department of Ed said several students and staff members had no clue who handles Title IX. As it turns out, that person is Mark Officer, Assistant Superintendent here at OPS. At the Department of Education's direction, the district will have to make a strong effort to identify Mr. Officer to the people within the district. In the 20-page letter, the USDE identifies 10 students that found themselves in the middle of these cases. The result of all this is an agreement between Owasso and USDE that Owasso leadership will revise and improve their Title IX practices. The district will have to invite each of the students named in the investigation and their parents to a meeting with Mr. Officer to discuss Title IX requirements. They'll also be doing audits, surveys, and reviews of their Title IX policies, all while making public their efforts to prevent bullying. The report does not directly name Next Benedict, the Owasso student who committed suicide earlier this year, but it does point to many of the same dates and circumstances surrounding Benedict's death. That's when the investigation started, but it names other instances in which the district investigated sexual harassment cases. Each of those cases had varying levels of resolution. The district sent us a statement saying it is, quote, committed to fulfilling the requirements of the voluntary resolution agreement with the utmost seriousness and care, as we believe every student has the right to learn in an environment free from discrimination and harassment. It's worth mentioning this agreement that has been reached between the USDE and Owasso is not an admission of wrongdoing, and also the USDE looked into Title II investigations that surrounds the Americans with Disabilities Act. They found no wrongdoings there. Reporting live in Owasso, Brody Myers, 2 News, Oklahoma.
Brody, thank you. And it is important to note this is not the first we are hearing of issues for Owasso students. 2 News Oklahoma's Steph Mansion joins me now. Steph, you've been covering alleged bullying instances for several months. So take us through what you've learned from the district's community and these claims you've been investigating.
Well, that's right, Erin. We first started bringing these claims to the district about 9 months ago, which is also when this investigation into the district began. A number of families have reached out to us looking for any help after they say the district does not address instances of abuse at school. Adam Hartsky tells me his children have been relentlessly bullied in Owasso Public Schools for the last 2 years. His youngest is an 8th grader named Alice. She's 13 years old and told me she takes both physical and verbal assaults on an almost daily basis. And she hasn't suffered silently. She says she has gone to adults at school about what happens when she walks into the building.
Would you want them to address your bullying specifically?
Actually trying to stop it instead of saying you need to try and not talk to them, because I'm not the one talking to them. They're the ones who start it all. I try to ignore them.
Alice's dad first got in contact with us in February following the death of Next Benedict, which was ruled a suicide 1 day after an altercation at school. I've tried to talk to the district about these allegations on camera 5 times over the last month and a half. The statement I've received time and time again says in part that they are prohibited by state and federal law from disclosing disciplinary action against another student, which can give some the idea that nothing was done in their case. Erin, according to this resolution, the district now agrees they failed to respond to reports, including those of sexual harassment of students.
And you are going to be reporting on these ongoing issues, and you have more tonight at 6.
That is right. I will have more about the challenges that I've faced getting answers from the district and share more concerns from families about what they call a lack of accountability from school leaders.
Thank you so much, Steph, for your extensive reporting on this issue throughout the months. And we wanted to find out more about the person in charge of Owasso Public Schools, so we did some digging. Dr. Margaret Coates became the superintendent of the district just over a little bit of 2 years ago. That followed a nearly 15-year with the school. She is in charge of overseeing all operations, including 9,800 students. We talked with her in August as students headed back to class, and this is what she said then about bullying.
If you're involved in student conflict or you feel like there's bullying going on, we want that reported immediately, because as soon as it gets reported, we investigate everything that comes our way.
And we have the full 20-page letter from the U.S. Department of Education on that investigation on our website, kjrh.com.